Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Manny Rays NOMA Truck Series, getting ready for preseason action here from the World Center of Racing, and we appreciate you joining us here on Ghost Racing Network. Got a great doubleheader event here tonight, but we are going to start with some of the rookies getting out here, getting their feet wet, and some of the guys trying to make their way into the big event tonight, the Clash, but only 3 are going to advance, so you know these guys are going to be hitting the ground running all 20 laps from the green flag drop. But we can start with your race info here tonight. Of course, the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway comes in at just under 2.5 miles in length. Track temp tonight going to be 79 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the last chance qualifier here. The Craftsman Truck Series for 20 laps around Daytona. 70% fuel is what all these guys are going to have in the tank. Unlimited tires, 1 faster pair of fixed setups, and 2 green-white checkers if we need them. Looking at your weather outside, 70s, 11% humidity, partly cloudy skies, and winds at 2 miles an hour. Let's get into your starting grid, and if you're here from last season, some of these names might seem a little unfamiliar. That's because we got a ton of new guys this season, and let's get started with the pole sitter. It's going to be Haas Beverly in the 12 truck. To his outside is going to be Chase Greer. Grant Turner starts third with Tyler Dudley to his outside and fourth. Robert Dudley and Keith Prince are going to make up row 3 with Zach Steffens and Ryan Gomes making up row 4. Moving on back, Billy Davison in 9th with Mark Beverly rounding out your top 10. William George in 11th with Stephen Hins in 12th. And the last truck in the field tonight for 13 trucks is going to be Joseph Fogg in the 37 truck. All right, so as we get down to your pole sitter here, again, we talk about there's going to be a lot of things. You know, whenever we get a new season along with a lot of new guys, we have some new stuff that we got to contend with here on the broadcast. And we're going to be keeping an eye, learning about all these guys. We got a couple new things here. Notice the tower, not quite as pretty, not quite as colorful as usual. We're trying out some things, working out some different things. So we are going to have all these drivers' team names, all the teams that they're all on, and we're going to have some more stuff for you set up by next week. But again, with the Clash, we like to keep things kind of simple, keep everything under one roof, and we are getting ready for 20 laps here at Daytona. I'm going to see, though, who's going to work together here early, and how quick are we going to see guys getting 3 wide. I think everybody stays patient here. 20 laps is a pretty long way around a track this big. But with only 3 advancing, there's a lot of people that are going to be going home empty-handed, and $50 going to be going to the winner of that second race here tonight, the main event. So you know they're all going to want to make their way in. I was always a fan of getting 3 wide here early. I feel like the front is the safest place to be at a track like Daytona. But different strategies are always what makes these kind of races, super speedway races, the most fun to watch. And the NOMA Super Speedway Series, a lot of guys that run in the Truck Series as well. So you will see a lot of them in the race just after this. Got a couple people out here watching, quite a few already. Robert Duvendak, Wildcat, NOMA TV, Richard Hurst out here, Steve Hins, Logan T, good to see in here. Nancy Hickox back ready for another season, and we are ready to take the green here, working our way off at turn 4. Pace Truck's going to take the hard left-hander. Full night here of racing in the NOMA Truck Series. Preseason action is underway. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Daytona. Lap 1 completed here at Daytona, and just like that, we're already 3 wide. Somebody got stuck in the middle, going to be going all the way to the back here. That's the 49 truck of Robert Dudley, and he is trying to get some help. This is actually going to maybe shuffle out the 15 truck of Tyler Dudley. I would figure those two might work together, but 3x3 down the backstretch, and these guys have not settled down at all from the drop of the green. Looks like the 15 is going to find a spot in line here. Sure enough does, and the 2 guys that I thought were about to go to the back there do find a spot, but not after losing a couple positions. You don't want to lose track position. That's always one of the keys to winning here at a track like Daytona. Up top, the 21, Haas Beverly in second on the outside. Inside, excuse me, it's going to be Grant Turner. Grant Turner in the 7 truck, you see pushing the leader, the 12. Haas Beverly on the inside now. The Doritos truck, one of my favorite paint schemes here so far to start off. I like it. He's pushing the 21 and holding them out to a pretty good lead now. You see the start-finish line is in the middle of the tribal here at Daytona. That's a little different than what we normally see at Talladega if you watch a lot of our Ghost Racing Network broadcasts. So I think that's going to give the advantage to the inside. But the truck's newer package here, probably a newer package in the sense of it just came out within the last 4 months or so. Even shorter than that, I'd say last 2 months. And this package is all about the more trucks, the faster you're going to go, and you can push anywhere on the track. Now, who's willing to do that here at the start was going to be the question, but a lot of guys look very comfortable. In fact, you see them already getting tandem up, locked in throughout the corners, down the straightaways, of course, to keep your momentum. But you can get 3 trucks locked together, and you'll make a little bit more speed. Here's a look at Keith Prince in the 03 truck. Good looking, pretty simple. Pink and white paint scheme. I like it. Keeps it nice and clean, keeps it nice and simple. But up top, still 2x2 here. Nobody's really been tempted to take it 3 wide to go to the front with it. We've had a couple guys that have gotten shuffled out 3 wide, sent to the back. But once we hit 10 laps to go, that's going to be where the pay window starts to open. I think maybe we start to see those moves get made a little bit here and there. The 88 on the bottom, Billy Davison, you see he sits about 4th truck back in line. Just as I was going to say, who's willing to take it 3 wide? Looked like somebody thought about it, but the 49 truck, maybe struggling a little bit with handling. Track temp is not that hot. So I think these guys should be okay. Now, the other question that we're going to arrive on scene here sooner or later is going to be the fuel number and how close we are to making that fuel window. Again, we know it's 70% fuel. If we look at the 70% fuel, these guys can normally average probably somewhere around 30 laps. It's going to be really close. I think they're going to be able to make it. But it's going to be really close. If you're leading every lap, then it gets that much closer, so we'll have to see. But 16 laps to go here in the last chance qualifier. Your top 3 right now that would be moving on to the Clash just after this would be Zach Stevens, Chase Greer, and Grant Turner in the 7 truck. That outside line, those 3 trucks falling back is not going to help the case for these 2 on the outside, but they're going to get some help now. The 2 truck jumps up to the top. You got to have 3 trucks. And now with Steven Hins jumping up to the top, they're going to be able to stick that progress that they were just about to lose. 1 truck, you're automatically going to fall. 2 trucks, you can hang around for a little bit, but eventually you're just going to get beat by the lane with more trucks. In this case, it would have been the bottom. But 3 trucks usually can hang pretty even in a draft. I think we'll see guys utilizing the side draft as well as this race progresses. But you see the sun starting to set here in Daytona. I think we are going to head into the nighttime for the race after this. Yeah, you see we're already at 7:17 in sim time. Calm winds, beautiful day here in Daytona. Good day to go racing. Chase Greer still looking strong here early, was pushing for a little while. Now he finds himself out leading the outside line. He's got a push from Grant Turner on the inside. That is the 21. On the outside, the lead pusher right now, who's been pushing on both lanes tonight, that is the 03 of Keith Prince. And rounding out this pack, everybody is still in this pack, by the way, except for Joseph Fogg, who had issues. Looks like he was not able to start the race. Neither was William George. So that puts us down to 11 trucks. Ryan Gomes is the last truck running right now. So on that note, 1/4 of the field is going to make the big event. We're going to have a lot more people in that. Make sure you stick around. 14 laps to go now, still side by side as we work our way off at turn 2. And you always wonder, do guys maybe try to make some friends here in this race? You know, maybe push a certain guy. Again, there's no real pay for this. You just got to finish in the top 3. And sometimes I feel like if you can find a driver that you work really well with, whether you're leading or you're being the pusher for that driver. In this case, let's take the inside line, the 7 and the 21, for example. Grant Turner, Zach Stevens, if they find each other, they like the way that they can push each other. Maybe they just stick like that for the rest of the race. The 7 doesn't look to make a move, but that's where it gets a little tough at the line because only one of the 2 trucks in row 2 would make the race. But if they get 3 wide, then only the front row is going to make the race. And that's where you got to make that decision. Do you want to go for it all, or do you try to help a guy out and hope it works out? And if we see a big wreck at some point, that could certainly shake things up as well. Good to see Manny Rays back on board for another season here of the NOMA Truck Series. Looks like Raymond is out in the chat tonight. Good to see you guys out here. Hope everybody's having a good time. We got a lot more action coming your way just after this doubleheader. Good way to kick off the preseason. And then, of course, the big race at Daytona. Ooh, man, the 49 tags the apron. That was a little bit of a close call there for Robert Dudley. He gathers it back up as they work their way out of 4. And the apron here at Daytona is not forgiving. That transition is very, very, very blunt, if you will. Comes up quick, and man, if guys get just a little bit loose, you hit that apron, sometimes it can be a little hard to gather it up. So your top 5 as it sits right now, Chase Greer, Zach Stevens. Chase Greer's going to lose that spot. Grant Turner third. That is actually your top 3 that are all making it to the Clash as of right now. Billy Davidson and Keith Prince sitting just outside. Those are rounding at your top 5. Moving back a little bit, Stephen Hins. Stephen Hins. We'll have to figure out again. If I'm getting some of these guys' names wrong, I do apologize. We will have them all correct in the next couple weeks or so. Sometimes that's what you get on the first couple of broadcasts here, unless you are, of course, NOMA TV Richard Hurst, who does an excellent job. Make sure you go check him out. Going to be covering the Super Speedway Series. Out of 4, these guys continue to stay too wide. I'm surprised that nobody has decided to get any more aggressive. Everybody's got a faster pair, and usually, in my opinion, that's kind of grounds to mix it up a little bit, but nobody has mixed it up yet. 11 laps to go as we ride on board here with Stephen Douglas, Stephen Hins. Some of these guys are going to have to fix a couple things here. And I wonder what happened to William George and Joseph Foggs. That's a tough break. Good way to get the season going here is with a chance to at least make the big race. Guys that come out, they don't want to have to go home here after only 20 laps at Daytona. Next race not going to be too much longer. What I am seeing is a couple of trucks wiggling around here just a little bit. Fishtailing around. A couple guys getting used to each other. But in the back of the pack, if you're a couple of these trucks, the 22, Ryan Gomes, about the 12 truck, Haas Beverly, you got to start thinking about going to the front now. It's just, if that third lane starts to get filled up, starts to get clogged, you may have nowhere to go. You can't really do 4 wide here at Daytona. Sometimes if you find yourself in an awkward spot, you can force it to make it work, but a lot of times it does not work out that well. Halfway through now, 10 laps to go here at Daytona. Your front 2 going to be Zach Stevens and Chase Greer. Grant Turner, Keith Prince, still the lead pushers. That 7 truck has not moved. Him and the 21 have a good thing going, but we haven't seen the momentum swinging too much in the sense of the 40 truck has not really been able to get clear. He finally maybe does. Ooh, the 03 is going to split him. Not sure if that was by decision or if the 40 just made a mistake, but he is going to go all the way to the back here. That's some much-needed fresh air for the 03 of Keith Prince, as he's going to be the leader now on the outside. The 40 is able to jump back in line, and just when you think Chase Greer had everything going right for him, he's going to have some work ahead of him now. We'll see if he can work together with a couple of those trucks, but that was an interesting way to do it. He decided to split the middle instead of go to the top. The top was wide open, but I guess he felt like Chase left the middle open just a little too much, and he took full advantage. The 49 hits the apron again. Boy, that is getting really, really sketchy. Move to the bottom now from Ryan Gomes. He is trying everything to find which lane's going to make more progress, but we've not seen either lane in the front really make enough progress to either jump down or jump up. A lot of the races here at Super Speedway, sometimes you'll see guys on the bottom jump up top because that's usually where the run is favored down these long straightaways, but not the case so far tonight. 49 moves up just a little bit on track there. Close call. Robert Dudley not able to hug the yellow here. Oh, we got one turn. Contact. Can they save it? They're not. This is going to be the first wreck of the night. The 13 back up into the 40 truck. Caution is out. And that is the dangers of getting yourself caught in bad track position. Man, Chase Greer, he's definitely got some right side damage. That's going to hurt him. Looks like Haas Beverly was involved, and then I think Mark Beverly probably got the worst of it. First caution here of the night. Let's take a look at it. Coming off of turn 4, this is where the mess starts. And it's the 40 of Chase Greer actually going to give him a push. And, that's from the cockpit view of Mark Beverly, who got turned. We're going to take a look at this from the chopper view. And let's see if the 40 was pushing off the corner. It looks like he is. Yeah, sure enough, looks like. And again, we talked about you can push in the corners, so I wouldn't really say that was necessarily the problem here. It just looks like the 13 got up the track a little bit, and then when the 40 got to his bumper, he was too offset to the left. Recipe for disaster when you're offset to the left in corners. Gets him turned around, and into the wall they all go. And this wreck is probably going to shake some things up. I think we are going to see a pretty crazy restart here, as it's going to put us probably around 5 laps to go. 13 kept them on the inside wall. It looked like they were actually going to save it for a minute. We'll take one more shot of it here from TV Static. Watch this. Out of the corner, it looked like initially they were going to be able to hold on, but there's the turn. That was the contact. I thought they were going to hang on. Then the 13, not sure if he had some suspension broke or what, but just not able to hang on. And going back up front, looks like Zach Stevens is going to be scored as your leader. A couple guys in the back are going to choose to pit just in case we head to overtimes. They want to be sure on fuel. Grant Turner being scored second, Keith Prince third, Stephen Hins in fourth, It's going to be Billy Davison rounding out your top 5. He is up 4 from where he started. Your biggest mover there right now is going to be Stefan. He is up 8 from where he started in 4th. And then Zach Stevens, he is also up 6 from where he started as well. 30 people out here watching tonight. Good way to get the season started. I think a lot are drivers that are getting ready for the Clash. Keep an eye on some of these rookies, seeing how they're doing. A lot of new teams this season, a lot of mix-ups. And again, we're going to have all that set up by next week. We are getting excited for it. A couple things to let you know on the Ghost Racing Network side. Since last season, Ghost Racing Network did make the cut to get the YouTube partnership program. Thank you to you all, of course, for getting us there. And we are really close to 800 subs. In fact, last time I checked, I think we were at 799. So looking for one more tonight if we don't already have it. But with that YT, or whatever it's called, YTPP, super chats are now available. You will see just below the chat button. I believe it's a little dollar symbol. If you're ever interested in leaving us $1 or $2 up here, you can get your messages highlighted, etc., etc. We also have Ghost memberships now available and Ghost merch. The biggest thing that I'm excited for with the green and red logo. Go check that out. We left that in the description for you as well. We are going to take a quick side-by-side break, and when we get back, if we are not on the one to go, actually, we're going to get the one to go, so we will save interviews probably for the Clash unless we get another caution, but we're going to take a side-by-side break, and we will be back with the run to the finish. Stick with us. Back live here at Daytona International Speedway. Going to be a 5-lap sprint. Remember, only top 3 going to advance to the Clash here tonight. If you're just tuning in, you are watching the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays on Ghost Racing Network. Zach Stevens, boy, he's been impressive all night, hasn't he? Heard the 7 and 21 are teammates, courtesy of NOMA TV in the chat. So Grant Turner and Zach Stevens, what can they coordinate here? What do they have planned? Does the 21 think about jumping to the top? Does the 7 maybe get a better jump and jump in front of the 21? Or do they just stick side by side to the line? Again, you know, I feel like being on the front row is going to be the safest option, especially, again, if they get 3 wide and they're 3 wide in the front, then that entire front row is going to make it. Nobody else will. Always a question of how they decide to sort things out. It is going to be crazy here and now. I don't think we're going to stay too wide here to the finish. Couple trucks on the outside that are going to have the best shot at making that 3-wide move. Of course, the 15, you got to feel like he's in pretty prime position, but the question is, does Tyler Dudley want to make the move? Looks like he would have a teammate in Robert Dudley just behind him. If those two go with each other, they might pick up a couple more. Here we go. Pace truck pulls off. 5 laps to go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air for Zach Stevens. Outside does not get a good jump, but neither does the inside. Big jump for the 21 truck. And who is going to win the race to his bumper? Ooh, it almost looks like he checked up a little bit there. That's a little bit of a more of a veteran move, and he is going to let the 7 get a big run on the outside. 2x2 tandem up front. The 2 trucks, Steven Hins, what can he do? Down the backstretch for the first time on this restart. Still side by side, no 3-wide move just yet. You got to kind of build it up, and these guys are really, really leading the middle open. We'll see if anybody else decides to do what the 03 did earlier and try to shoot up the middle. And if you are the 03 of Keith Prince, oh, they're going to wreck. A little contact. No way they hold on. No, they're not going to. The 03 back up the track. Oh, big hit. The 88 up and over at a 4. Gets back down on all 4. That's Billy Davison. Second caution of the night, and this one was the big one. Keith Prince, he's all torn up, comes to a stop up in the turn 4 wall. A lot of damage to the 03 truck. This is going to be his fast repair for sure. Mark Beverly, he is going to hit the pits. And up front, the 7 of Grant Turner is being scored as your leader. That's important, right? Because you got to think about where did the 21 fall back to, who was leading on that restart. He's fallen all the way back to 5th. Let's take a look at what happens on this last wreck. This was a wreck basically from the start of 3 that just never really happened, I guess, if you will, until the middle of it. Watch the 03. Ooh, the 21 actually gets on the apron first. Oh, and this looks like it's going to be a block gone wrong here. Watch the 7 truck. This is into turn 3. Grant Turner's looking for a block. Not clear. The 21 knows he's going to turn him, so he dives to the apron to try to miss him. The 03 on the back bumper follows the 21 onto the apron, and then a little bit of contact there from a couple of trucks. He tries to save it. Unfortunately, Keith Prince just is not going to be able to hang on. He goes back up the track, and that's where the big contact ensued. In fact, watch the 88 truck here. Boom, big hit up in the air, flips a couple times before he lands back on all four. Let's take a cockpit ride here with Billy Davison, as he definitely got the worst of this one, and he's going to have to use a fast spare as well. It's so hard to save a truck here. You know, Talladega, you get on the apron, it's not as bad. The apron's still banked. Here at Daytona, it's just so abrupt. A lot of times you just don't even get a chance. In fact, let's take a view from the spotter cam on this one. And in the 88's case, Billy Davison, he did not have a chance at all there. He tried. Unfortunately, just does not work out. And this is going to put a lot of the front runners to the back. The 21's probably the only one that was half. Oh, actually, the 40 truck does a nice job sneaking through. Chase Greer. We had somebody else sneaking through the bottom. Couldn't tell who it was from that perspective. Let's go back live up front. And it looks like, has the 7 truck been EOL'd? It looks like he has, unless he's decided to pit. As Joseph Fogg just had said it in the chat. Looks like it might be coming true here. Yeah, he's currently sitting on the pits, so I wonder if he got black flagged. I wouldn't think he would choose to pit here with only 3 laps to go, but either way, that's going to hand the lead over to Stephen Hins. Tyler Dudley 2nd. Robert Dudley in 3rd. Zach Stevens in 4th. Ryan Gomes 5th. Chase Greer 6th. Keith Prince in 7th. Grant Turner 8th. It's going to be Haas Beverly 9th with Mark Beverly 10th. Billy Davison still on pit road. He might have had to tow. He's got to get out soon if he doesn't want to lose any more laps, if he hasn't lost a lap yet. William George and then Joseph Fogg, of course, did not start the race. So your top 3 all of a sudden completely flipped from the guys that were running top 3 all night to guys that really weren't in the top 3 for much of the night. Of course, the 2 truck, Stephen Hins, he had been doing a good job. And I'll tell you what, if you're out there watching in chat, if I'm saying these guys' names wrong, please start telling me now, because we, of course, got to get it right by the first couple of races. And we normally do, but it's always a little bit tricky at first. So feel free to let me know up in the chat. Let's see if we can get an interview from one of these guys. Let's see who we got in here. Maybe one of the rookies that currently finds themselves more towards the front. Again, a lot of different teams. We'll be keeping an eye on all that, but somebody that's... Trying to find somebody that's up here that could maybe talk to. I'd like to see if we can get a word from one of the Dudleys here on what's the strategy. And sure enough, Team Dudley Racing. Let's see if we can get a word here with Tyler Dudley. Going to be starting on that outside run, the 15 truck. Hey Tyler, this is Austin up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. Well, making your first start here tonight. Good looking truck. Got it running on the outside. You don't have your teammate lined up with you, but there's 2 of you here in the top 3. But what's going to be the game strategy here to stay in the top 3 as we come to the checkered flag?
I'm not quite sure yet. We've been kind of talking about it. We're going to try to squeeze in behind one another if we can, but if not, it's go for it, I guess.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like the one thing that we got to kind of worry about, too, that we always worry about is if that 3rd line gets formed and you find yourself maybe as the pusher on one of the trucks, how do you go about that? Do you try maybe 4 wide? I don't know if we could see that work here, or do you just stay in line and hope for the best?
I believe I'm just going to stay in line and hope for the best here.
All right, well, thanks for giving us a quick word. Again, doing a great job here on your first start here tonight, and we'll see if we see you in victory lane and maybe in the Clash later tonight.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, and that is Tyler Dudley. We'll let him go. Favorite thing about getting the interviews is always the first time you get guys with their interviews. To be honest, up here in the booth, sometimes when I ask a question, it also gives me a chance to kind of reset some things. And when we get a little bit of quicker answers, it makes me ask a second awkward question. So I feel bad for Tyler in that sense. Hopefully we didn't spook him too bad up here. The 21, Zach Stevens, you know he's got to feel like he's got a good shot at winning this thing. And he's right on that cusp. He's in 4th right now. But does he try to push the 2? And if the 2 gets cleared, does the 2 drop low or stay up top? And if you're the 40 of Chase Greer, do you think about being the guy that takes it 3 wide on the top line? It is going to be an overtime finish here. Again, we only have 2 green-white checkers. This is the first of those 2. So if we get a caution on the first lap, we will rack them up and try it again. But here we go, moment of truth. Who is ready to make the big show tonight? Green flag is back in the air for Steven Hins and Tyler Dudley. Good restart as they rock it off down at turn 1. Who is going to get the advantage down the backstretch? The outside's got it now. The 2 is going to jump down in line. That puts Steven Hins in first. Tyler Dudley in line in second. But on the outside, here comes Zach Stevens. You know, he's not giving up, and he is getting a good push from Chase Greer. The 49 is going to go 3 wide to the middle. How long can that work? He's got no help right now. He's going to get dragged to the back. No, the 21 can't decide which lane. Middle now back to the top. The 49, some contact between him and the 40, and now they're going to shuffle out Chase Greer. He is going to have to fall to the back. If we can take the white flag, this race will be official off of turn 4. Now the 2 truck starts to get the advantage, but how about the run here from Zach Stevens? He is leading the field here as we take the white flag one more time around Daytona. Trace Greer still working on the outside. He's not going to give up just yet. He's got a little bit of help there. Keith Prince stuck in the middle. He's got nowhere to go. 3rd truck. Now we see the 49 looking for a little bit of a side draft. Could Robert Dudley make it in with his teammate as well? And does the 2 truck think about jumping up top? No move just yet. Now the 15 truck. He falls back a little bit on the inside row. The 40. Here comes Chase Greer with a big run on the outside. Is it going to be enough to get clear of the middle? A little bit of contact there between the 22 on the inside. Now the 49 ping pongs around just a little bit. Into turn 3 for the final time. They're bumping and banging out back. Top 3 right now are all single file. The 15's looking for a move. 49 wash it up. There's contact. They're all wrecking out back. Big wreck out back. Single file as we come to the line. Now the 2 truck looks to make a move. They wreck further out back. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Zach Stevens, he wins it here in the last chance qualifier at Daytona. What a finish. Steven Hins comes in second, and Mark Beverly going to be your final transfer position tonight, assuming all results are official. Oh my goodness. What a finish. We're going to have to take a look back at that. Turned into chaos and calamity out of turn 4. But what a comeback from Zach Stevens. Completely deserves it. And a great from Zach Stevens, and a great job by Steven Hins as well. A lot of Stevens in here, I'll tell you what. Let's go back before we take a look at this guy's burnout, see what kind of show he can put on for us here. Things got crazy here out of turn 4. The 49 washed up a little bit, and that's what's going to cause this first big wreck. And yeah, there it is. 49 just gets a little bit high here. Actually starts back here on 3, starts drifting. Not sure if he was trying to get clear to go 3 wide, but just not clear. And you know, Chase Greer has no plans on lifting at this point in the race. And there's the heavy contact from there. Slides down. Big wreck out back. But this was the second wreck. And this one was more important because this did take out who was going to finish in the top 3. And that's why there could be some questions. Ooh, you know, that looked like a little bit of net code. Let's back that up and see again here. Watch the 22 and the 15 a little bit lower on your screen. In fact, we'll back this up. Do they contact? It's close, but it really doesn't look like they ever touch. It looks like the 15 gets close. He was certainly coming down the track. The 22 slightly creeping up the track, but no contact. And yeah, that's net code. Oh, that's a tough break for the 22. Ryan Gomes finishes 4th just outside of it, and they're not done wrecking at this point. Wow. Look at that 15 truck jerk. This is more net code. This is one of the oddest looking things I've ever seen. That is horrific net code into the 15, who gets down into Mark Beverly. Luckily, Mark's able to hang on with no issue and take home that 3rd and final position. Well, we are going to go see if we can bring in your top 3 for interviews as we watch Zach Stevens complete his victory lap. Maybe do a little burnout if we can't, or we can. We'll be right back. Stick with us here. All right, back live here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Couldn't find all of your top three just yet, but we did find one of them. That's going to be Mark Beverly. Gets the job done tonight, just barely brings it home third. And Mark, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, what's going on?
Man, you just squeaked in there at the end. What were you thinking when you saw the two trucks wrecking here outside coming to line?
I started laughing. I was like, damn, I actually made it in here. I caught up in the earlier wreck there, and I almost exited out of the sim, and I was like, oh, I'll see how much damage I got, and fixed it up a little bit, and just hung on, I guess.
Well, overall, it was a pretty strong night, but hey, you get to make the Clash here in your first start. What's going to be the game plan for that race where we're going to see a lot more trucks and a lot more veterans, a lot more aggression?
I think I'm just going to try to hang out in the back here for a bit. I don't have any teammates. Nobody advanced in, so just kind of bide my time and see how it goes.
All right, going to be interesting. Well, we might see up here again later, but just in case we don't, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to you, putting on a good show for us, making us look good, and shout out to everybody watching and all the league admins for letting me join here. So it should be a fun season.
Should be indeed. Hey, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the third place finish here tonight.
Thank you.
And let's bring in the winner of the last chance qualifier, Zach Stevens. Zach, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, you get the win, and man, we were talking about how impressive it was. You kind of got sent a little bit further back in the pack after that near miss between you and the 7 truck. And did it just look like a late block on your point of view?
No, he said his spotter said he was clear, so he was coming down to get in front of me. I just didn't expect it to happen so quick, and we kind of clipped a little bit, and I was lucky enough to save it and not get spun out or anything. But yeah, it was just unfortunate because he was one of my teammates, and the 40 was as well, and we got separated after that first half. So.
Well, either way, you're transferring into the Clash here tonight. So that's going to take away one of your teammates here, but what's going to be your game strategy, and how do you try to get to the front in that race?
Yeah, I'm just going to try and get up there slowly and steady, try and keep it clean. Maybe I can hook up with the 2 truck again. We worked pretty good those last couple laps, but just going to try and keep it clean, see what we got near the end of this thing, and hopefully be in position to get the $50.
All right, well, you got the win here, so you're off to a good start. We'll see if you can make it back-to-back, take home the 50, and if we'll be talking to you yet again here tonight. But just in case we don't, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just my teammates from 4 Wide Racing. We got a little partnership with NOMA. We race in each other's leagues and stuff. But thank NOMA for putting it on. Thank you for broadcasting. My mom, my dad, and my uncles are watching, so say hey to them.
All right, thanks for talking to us, and we will see you here in just a little while.
Appreciate it, man.
About it, Zach Stevens brings home the win tonight. Going down the rest of your order, the top 3, they're going to advance, of course, Zach Stevens, Stephen Hins as well, and Mark Beverly. Those are the 3 advancing to the Clash here tonight. Ryan Gomes finishes 4th, Tyler Dudley in 5th, Grant Turner 6th with Haas Beverly 7th, Keith Prince in 8th, Robert Dudley 9th, Chase Greer 10th, Billy Davison 11th. Joseph Fogg and William George did not start the race, finishing 12th and 13th position. But we got a lot more action to come here tonight. I hope you're enjoying so far. Make sure you stay tuned for our doubleheader. The main event comes up next with the Clash at Daytona. Until then, we're going to head back to the starting soon screen, and we will get it started accordingly. We'll see you in a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays here on Ghost Racing Network. It is time for the main event here tonight, the Clash at Daytona. Drivers gridding up, getting ready to get rolling, so let's get right into your starting grid. Race info, just about all the same. We can take a look at some of the weathering differences from the last chance qualifier to now, but the pole sitter picking off from where he left last season. No surprise here, Kenneth Riedinger in the 24 truck. Finds himself on the pole. He's got Robert Duvendak, one of the best super speedway racers you'll find in NOMA. He starts on the outside pole. Row 2 is going to be John Bell and Joey Hickox. Row 3 is going to be John Lynch and William George with Jay Stinson in 7th. Christopher Bonomi in 8th. Treston Fortson starts 9th. Matthew Dyer rounding out the top 10. Richard Hurst, NOMA TV broadcaster, does a heck of a job. Go check him out. He's in here racing tonight. He's going to be starting 11th to his outside. Matthew Fritz in 12th. Sam Boutwell in 13th, Guy Braco in 14th, Zach Stevens 15th with Jeff Carl in 16th. Moving on back to 17th, it's going to be Robert E. Morrison, Randy Bonomi in 18th. Row 10 is going to be James Scamordella and Mark Beverly. Justin Parham starts 21st, Keith Prince 22nd. Russ Kilgore and Stephen Hins make up row 12, and Haas Beverly and Howard Hewins, good to see him back here this season as well in the 55 truck. Rounding out row 13. Looking at a few of those weathering differences again, we talked about it, really not too many at all, but wind still 2 miles an hour, 70 degrees though now. Track temp has probably cooled off a bit more, sure enough, at 75 degrees. Clear skies, and it is going to head into the nighttime here to decide the winner of the Clash, or maybe I should say when we're done with the Clash. Had a couple quite a few drivers out watching the last race, and we had 3 drivers make it in from the last race. And we will be keeping an eye on what they can do here tonight. Mark Beverly, one of those drivers, the 13 truck, he's got his work cut out. Zach Stevens, another one of those drivers, also going to have his work cut out. And we will be keeping an eye on every single one of them through this thing. Again, a lot of new teams, a lot of things that still have to get sorted out as we head into the season opener next week. Of course, this being the preseason race, the Clash. Nothing on the line here except for bragging rights, of course, practice, and maybe getting a little chemistry with your teammates. All in preparation for the biggest race of the season next week at Daytona. Make sure you don't miss out. You can catch that race here on Ghost Racing Network as well. We're working our way here through turns 3 and 4 on the high banks. Pace truck is going to pull off 50 laps, breaking it down a little bit more because, of course, the actual race format itself did change a little bit. We are going to have a competition caution on lap 30. Still unlimited tires, but fuel is at 70%, and these guys cannot make it all the way to the competition caution. So we're going to see a fuel stop here. Question is, how do you play that strategy? Do you decide to go early? Do you decide to go late? We are going to find out. Green flag is in the air. We're racing in the Clash at Daytona. Off at turn 2 down the Daytona super stretch for the first time here tonight. Still side by side, and don't be surprised if we see these guys maybe thinking about 3 wide a little bit quicker than what we saw in the last chance qualifier. A lot more trucks and a lot more veterans and returners from past seasons. Still no advantage to any lane yet as we roar off turn 4 for the first time. The 5 truck doing a good job pushing. That's John Bell, but Robert Duvendak on the outside. He's got a little bit of a run here to the line. It's not going to be enough, and Kenneth Riedinger, we talked about picking up where he left off last season. Good start by leading lap 1 here at Daytona. Middle and back of the pack still remain 2 by 2. A couple trucks starting to trail off a little bit here. And if you're Albert Hewins, you got to be careful. This newer draft package, it is a lot easier to lose the draft if you're not sticking close enough, and it also takes a lot more time to pull up to the draft. We'll see how these guys decide to go about it. We do have a lot of the more familiar teams, if you will. Again, a lot of things did change in the offseason. One of the things that didn't change too much, or I guess I should say maybe it did, the Hickox Racing drivers, still a lot of teammates there, but they moved over to, I believe it's Venom Racing now. Again, having all things set up. We'll have it all set up next season, but you may be a little bit less inclined to work with your teammates tonight, or maybe you're more inclined. It's hard to say, but with there being no points on the line, I feel like you maybe think about, let me just go for the win here, and worst case scenario, if things don't work out, you don't really have much to lose. So far, Robert Duvendak, Kenneth Rittinger have both been leading the way. 3 laps in here at Daytona. The 5 of John Bell continues to push on the inside and the outside. Joey Hickox in the 3 truck. You know, he would like to get a win here. One of the best at the best at the one of the best of the best at super speedways. And he's got one of his teammates in Jay Stinson just to his inside in that bright green 31 truck. I guess I should say 1 truck behind him on the inside. And how about Spino Racing? The 90 truck of John Lynch. Spino, one of the new sponsors this season. Of course, Manny Rays is still the title sponsor, but going to pick up Spino. We'll see what they can do. Of course, John Lynch rocking the paint scheme, and you know he would like to bring it in victory lane here starting off the season. Oh, we got a wreck out back. 3 trucks involved. Caution is out. And this one caught me off guard a little bit. They're still trying to get it together. There's James Scamordella. Randy Bonomi, actually, excuse me. Albert Hewins pulls onto the scene as the 66. Looks like he may have gotten the worst of it. And he's going to get that thing turned around. He's got smoke out the back and no right rear. That's going to be his one and only fast pair of the night right here. A little bit earlier than he would have liked to have had to take it, but let's see what happens. This is coming out of the tri-oval. And the contact's a little bit further back, so we're going to back this up and take a look from the spotter cam. And, oh, it's a checkup. Yeah, sure enough, we're going to be talking about these quite a bit tonight. And here's the first example of it. Checking up on the outside, it just... The further back you get, the more significant it gets. And the 29, after he checks up, 69 checks up. Randy Bonomi not quite able to check up as good, but when he does, slams it to the back, and then he gets slammed into the back by the 79 truck of James Scamordella. That turns the 79 down, and then looks like the 08. The 08 might have got involved as well. He's able to drive off the 98. Excuse me, that's Jeff Carl. Was involved in this one. He's got pretty heavy damage, even though he was able to drive off. That might be a fast pair for him as well. And then Randy Bonomi backs it back into that outside safer barrier. He definitely got the worst of it. Albert Hewins arriving on the scene. He's probably lucky that he was where he was. If he was a little bit closer, he probably would have been involved in this one. Let's take a couple more views of it here. And that's not even really guys racing hard. Again, it's just sometimes stack up. Maybe somebody does make a bad push further up front. Somebody gets out of shape. Somebody lets out of the throttle. Whatever happens, it just amplifies it the further back you go in the pack. And a lot of times somebody's not quite able to check up. In this case, somebody wasn't. And that led to that big incident here. Only about 5 laps in. Let's take one more shot of it here. This is TV1. Actually, yeah, Jeff Carl definitely took a hard hit. In fact, you saw his front bumper look like it had gotten ripped off and then went back on the truck. Front end's the worst place to get damaged. These trucks are a lot more, I guess I should say, repairable than they used to be, but you got to have all your RPMs if you want a chance at being competitive. And a couple of these guys definitely probably lost a couple in that wreck that we just saw there. Everybody coming down to the pits to take fuel, and by doing so, it's going to be close now. It's going to be really, really close on whether or not we can make it to the competition caution from here without having to pit. These guys are going to have to save under caution, and we might even see some more guys top off. We'll have to see. Nancy Hickok says, let's go number 3, and number 90 drives smart guys. Raymond Daniel Sr. says, Manny Rays likes to welcome all new drivers this season. Sure enough, a lot of new drivers. We talked about it. You don't see as many new ones here in the Clash, but we did see a lot in the last chance qualifier, and you will see probably most of, if not all of those guys returning here for the actual race. Now, something that caught my eye here, it looks like Keith Prince and Haas Beverly hopped out. I think they might actually just be watching. I thought maybe somebody had gotten changed from the last chance qualifier, but you see in the background, the lights are starting to get brighter here at Daytona. Sun continues to set. So we talked about this race is going to transition into the nighttime. And that is going to change some things up for sure. Christopher Bonomi finds himself in the lead, up 7 from where he started. Kenneth Rittinger back to 2nd. Robert Duvendak 3rd. Richard Hurst, he started to come to life last season, wanted to hop in these trucks to kind of see what these guys go through. And as a broadcaster, it always helps you be better if you can get in the truck and race and then bring what you've learned up to the booth. Does a heck of a job. Southern Broadcast Gaming Network, I believe he does still do that, but he's also over here broadcasting for NOMA TV on YouTube, who I believe that, yeah, sure enough, that is the channel that they do the Super Speedway races on now with Richard Hurst. So make sure, again, you go check those out on Mondays. Those are always exciting, especially if you're into the Super Speedways. Joey Hickox rounding out your top 5. John Bell in 6th. John Lynch 7th. William George 8th. Sam Batwell 9th. And Matthew Dyer are going to be rounding out your top 10. And sure enough, Looks like a lot of guys choosing to come down to pit here. That means fuel must be pretty close. Half on back through the field. They're all just about going to come in here. We do have a couple staying out. Might be expecting either another caution or thinking that they either can't make it on fuel or that they can save even if they don't come down to top off right here. So when we do take their green, it's going to put us at 23 laps until the end of that one and only stage in this race. And then that 20, actually it'll be less than 20 lap sprint to the finish. There will be no expected pit stop for there, and that is going to be chaotic. I think we will probably be 3 wide for most of, if not all of that second half stage of the race, if you will. But if you are just tuning in, you're picking a good time to do so. You haven't missed much. You missed maybe the initial start, but we had one caution here early. And we are getting ready to get back under green here with Chris Bonomi leading the way. Kenneth Riniger still second. Robert Duvendak up to third. Sam Boutwell fourth. And John Bell now up to fifth. Going to try to get a couple of interviews from some of these guys later. But I think for now we're going to just keep everybody settled down. Everybody's still trying to get settled in. Even if you have teammates, you're still not sure how everybody races. A lot of the returners know what to expect from each other. The last Super Speedway race that we saw last season was at Talladega Super Speedway, and gotta be honest, that one was pretty messy. We saw things get crazy, so you're hoping that a lot of these guys took some time in the off season to maybe practice a little bit, get some officials in, get better at the Super Speedways. Not that they all weren't good, just sometimes maybe the aggression level gets a little too high too early, and that's where we see those mistakes kind of start to happen. But so far tonight, been pretty mistake-free. A couple things that have been out of everybody's control, but that's what you always expect when you come to these super speedways. It's just the nature of the beast. But we are getting ready to go back green here. The field all pulling up. You see they got that long single file line. That is from the guys that all came into pit and topped off. And we are getting ready to go back green. Here we go. Green flag is back in the air. 7 now, 8 laps completed here at Daytona. Not a great restart for the inside line. Kenneth Riniger is going to take full advantage of that as he pulls Sam Boutwell all the way to the front and now down to the inside line. And we'll see, does he think about maybe controlling these lanes at all, or does he just commit to the bottom here? He's going to have a decision to make because the 21 truck looks like he has got a pretty good run. Nah, it's going to kind of stall out there. It looked like he might have got it side drafted just a little bit. He does have some help now from the 4 of Russ Kilgore. And how about the guys that made the last chance qualifier? Making a statement here earlier, you see Steven Hins, he's up there in the 2 truck as well. And Mark Beverly, he was having a pretty solid run last time we checked. 2x2, the field is starting to get all linked back together here as the first lap on this restart has been completed. We do have one truck just now coming off of the pits, and that's Joey Hickox. Kind of wonder if Joey must have had an issue of sorts. He's just now getting up to speed. I don't know if he's going to be able to hang with this pack as they come roaring off too at full speed. Yeah, it's not looking like he's going to be able to. That's a tough break early for Joey. We'll have to see how many laps down he went. You can see it on your scoring tower. And now we're starting to see guys looking a little bit more antsy. You saw a couple of looks at maybe thinking about going 3 wide. They all think better of it, and they're going to settle back down. But Russ Kilgore, he's going to have to get locked onto the bumper of that 21 if they want to make enough progress to get to the front. Again, you can be very, very aggressive in this new drafting package here for the trucks, but a couple of these guys seem to be a little gun shy right now. Again, still getting used to it. Only 10 laps in. We still got 40 laps to go. Nowhere near halfway yet. Justin Parham, he's going to try to make his way through the field. The 19 truck for Grandstand Racing last season had a great run in the playoffs. Came up just a little bit short. Wasn't able to get the championship, but he did get to witness his teammate get the job done. And Justin Parham finds himself in 11th, already up 10 from where he started. Biggest mover inside your top 10. Got a couple big movers, but it is going to be Russ Kilgore up 19 from where he started. And how about Guy Braco? Finds himself up here in the top 10, looking to get inside the top 5. He currently sits in 6th position right now. Moving on back, looking further towards the back of this pack. Good looking paint scheme tonight for William George in the 96. To his outside, he's got Matthew Fritz. One of the returners, Matthew Fritz, though, switching numbers this season, it looks like. He's going to be in the 29 Manny Rays machine. I think he was kind of, if you will, Manny Rays' main guy last season, and he's going to pick up right where he left off. He also had a pretty good playoff run, was cut short, though, He's looking to see if maybe he's got a shot at the championship this season. The outside line continuing to fall a little bit here. Russ Kilgore is just not linking up to the back bumper. In fact, let's ride on board with them here. Even on the straightaways, he doesn't look like he's comfortable enough to want to get on the back bumper of Stevens, but he's going to have to. These guys are just going to continue to lose progress because that inside line, they're staying aggressive, and it's only a matter of time for, ooh, man, that was close. That's a checkup in the back. That's what you get worried about. Does everybody keep their trucks in line here? Looks like they do. But look at the inside. They have 4, almost 5 trucks clear. Robert Duvendak jumps to the top. Now John Bell is going to follow as well. And that's the risk you run when you're not sticking close enough to want to push. And the 21 gets the bad end of the stick of that as he's going to fall to the 3rd position on the outside line. Now watch the 5 of John Bell. You see he's not worried about it. He's going to get to the back bumper of Robert Duvendak. And look at the run these guys are getting down the backstretch. See if we can go to the spotter view to show you. And just like that, the 99 almost going to get clear. But you see Sam Batwell. He is also locked onto Kenneth Rinninger's bumper. And the side drafts are very, very powerful in these trucks. So if you can get a good side draft, whether you're on the inside or the outside, you can very easily stall out that lane and keep them from making any more progress towards the front. Back of the field, everybody still staying double file as we complete 13 laps here so far. Albert Hewins still staying towards the back of the pack, and it looks like Joey Hickox was actually able to tag onto the back of this pack. So that's going to help him out in that sense. He shouldn't have to worry about losing any more laps at this rate. Bad news is he's 2 laps down, so he's really hoping that we either get a caution soon and that he's not involved, can get that lucky dog, or that we can make it at least to this stage break without anybody else going a lap down, which he could get it then. Robert Duvendak and John Bell jump to the bottom. Kenneth Rinninger says, all right, I'll go ahead and head to the top. And him and the 21 are working together. The 4 of Russ Kilgore still sits 3rd. Robert Duvendak and John Bell. And if you're John Bell, he's been pushing pretty aggressive so far, so he's going to have to keep an eye on the temps. And if Stevens is also pushing pretty aggressive, that's where you start to see the chess game of who wants to push harder when, in the sense of if the inside, John Bell, he gets too hot too quick, he has to back off. That's when the outside line can make their move, get Kenneth Rinninger, maybe also Stevens clear, and if they both jump low, that'll give the inside, Robert Duvendak, he'll have fresh temps, he can push in the 5 of John Bell. That'll give him a chance to cool off his temps. Or if the 5 gets clear the outside, maybe the more viable option, he can just go ahead and jump right up to the top line here. And that would also be a very good way for the 5 truck to cool. Take a look from some of the different cams here. One of my favorite ones here is going to be the left rear. Look how close some of these guys run to the yellow. You want to kind of paint the yellow line if you're on the bottom, but you don't want to get on the apron. If you even get 2 wheels on the apron here at Daytona, that abrupt change from 30-plus degree banking to complete flat, trucks don't like that too well. That is a good way to find yourself wrecked. Are we going to see a little 3 wide here? Ooh, man, that was close. Looks like the 2 truck maybe cut him a little bit of a break. Steven Hins, I don't know if I would have been that nice about it. Zach Stevens with a little bit of a checkup. Those two, both 2 of your last chance qualifier advancers, if you will. And now we're going to see some 3 wide action. Here we go. The 90 truck going to jump to the top line. Not going to get any help. That's John Lynch for Spino Racing. Surely somebody's got to go with them, but they don't. Oh, man, that was close contact. Jay Stinson now finds himself in the middle of 3 wide action here off of 4. The 2 truck up top, though, looking like he was going to get shuffled out, but these guys are a mess. It's 3 wide, but it does not look very pretty. They're all still trying to get organized. Justin Parham is going to choose the 31. Meanwhile, you got the 90 of John Lynch. He's going to stick to the top for now. Does he tuck in line, or does he try to go with the 2 truck? Looks like he is going to tuck right back in line. So Kenneth Rinninger's line fades just a little bit on the outside as they kind of got disorganized. And that 3rd line is going to fall in a hurry as they just did not really get much of any help going. Robert Duvendak still leads the way here, has led the last 3 to 5 laps, and John Bell continues to be, in my opinion, the best pusher so far, but don't look now. 2 of the previous Grandstand Racing teammates, Justin Parham and Kenneth Rinninger, these 2 were fast. Super Speedways, we didn't get too much of a chance to see how fast they were, but I think those 2 getting together is a very dangerous combo, and if Justin Parham can get Kenneth clear, gotta wonder if Kenneth is thinking about dropping down, maybe clogging up both lanes, and then those 2 will be controlling the field in a very dominant fashion. Approaching lap 20 here. Again, stage break set for lap 30. Racing continuing to pick up. We're going to take a quick side-by-side break so I can grab a quick drink of water. We will be right back here at the World Center Racing Daytona International Speedway. Stick with us. back live at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Sam Boutwell is going to get split 3 wide by John Lynch. John Lynch has looked very aggressive in his charge to the front, and a little bit of an opening, a mistake maybe there from the 47 is going to cost him quite a few positions, as he is going to have to fall all the way to the back of this pack. Up front, you got Kenneth Rittinger still leading the way. Justin Parham in second. The 90 of John Lynch, though, leads, and he is looking to get all the way to the front on that outside line. How about Randy Bonomi? Got some damage involved in that last wreck. Doesn't seem to be too shaken up about it, even though he had to use his fast repair. He is right back in the mix here in second, pushing the 90 truck on the outside line, but he's got to be careful if he's in one more big wreck, and usually when we wreck here at a track like Daytona, it's always a big wreck. His night could be over. Ooh, man, a little bit of bobbing and weaving there. The 29 of Matthew Fritz washed up the track, following Randy Bonomi. Guy Braco maybe followed as well. But I like this move from Randy Bonomi in the sense of, by staying at the front, he runs less risk, excuse me, man, I am struggling with words here tonight. Less risk of being involved in a wreck. I always felt like the front's the safest place to be, of course, and he finds himself in that second row pretty close to the front. Now we're starting to see a little bit maybe of a split strategy here. I gotta wonder if certain guys are trying to make it, maybe certain guys don't think they can make it, and some guys that are just playing it safe. Taking a look at your track map, you can't really see it too much from there, but if we look just from the camera view, you got the main pack that's still 2x2, probably about 7 to 10 rows deep, and then they single file out, and they're single file all the way back to Joey Hickok, who, by the way, is still 2 laps down. We talked about is looking for a caution. He's probably not going to get one here until the competition caution that is set to fall 9 laps once we cross the line this time. But the 24 of Kenneth Rittinger and his teammate Justin Parham still leading on the bottom. Up top, you got the 90 of John Lynch. Just behind him, Randy Bonomi. Robert Dubignac, he's been up in the top 5 for most of the night. He sits third on the bottom. And the 5 of John Bell. To the outside of him, Matthew Fritz. But some of the guys that we saw top off, such as Richard Hirsch, Jay Stinson, they're still up in the mix here. You see Jay and Richard and Sam Boutwell, those 3 all sitting back there. Sam Boutwell is not packed there by choice. He got shuffled down, and the 2 moves that we have seen tonight, except for, of course, late race in the last chance qualifier when we saw guys 3 wide trying any way to make a move, but we've seen a couple times now where the 3 wide tonight, when it's formed up, it has been guys shooting to the middle line, and that's when they've really made it work. So I think if you're John Lynch, and of course he's doing a great job at it right now, I think you got to make sure that you stay close to the trucks on your inside. I know sometimes you get a little bit worried between netcode and some of the other stuff, but the closer you stick to the truck on the inside, the more of the side drafting that you can get throughout the corners is going to help your run down the straightaways. And then you keep that middle line from being open. You certainly don't want to get split through the middle, because then you're going to go to the back all the way on the outside right up by the wall. If they're going to take you 3 wide on the outside, you usually don't have to worry too much about losing too much help. We'll have to see, because everything just plays out so different. So the mind games, I wish I could explain them all up here in the booth, but there's just so many scenarios and so many circumstances that you go through in your head. The teammates start to play a role. That can determine which lane you decide to go with and who you decide to push to the front, if you decide to go 3 wide, if you don't. But as we are going to be approaching lap 24, we are almost fully into nighttime now here. If you look at the weather, no surprise, we started the last chance qualifier at sunset. Track temp cooling down even more now at 74 degrees. Winds have stayed at 2 miles an hour all night, and skies are still clear at Daytona. Perfect setting for one of the most beautiful racetracks to head to. Now, this single file line, this is what has me interested, is are all these guys saving fuel? Russ Kilgore in 23rd, just in front of him, Albert Hewins, Jeff Carl, Stephen Hins, Mark Beverly, Treston Fortson, William George, Zach Stevens, Christopher Bonomi, Matthew Dyer, and a little bit further, looks like the 28 truck actually of Matthew Dyer is the last truck. So those are all the guys right now that are single file and not really looking like they want to make a move. I'm not sure if they're saving their fast pair, saving fuel, or both. Again, there's no payday till the end of this race, and I do believe we are probably going to see a big wreck at least some point during those final 20 laps. All these guys know that there's $50 on the line for the winner, and you know they're going to be going for it. Now, I'm just impressed with the job that Justin Parham and Kenneth Rittinger have done. Justin's kind of playing some strategy in the sense of he makes sure he keeps Kenneth out front, but then once they start to get that advantage, he backs off, saves some temps. These trucks, they get hot quick and they don't cool down as fast as they used to. And keeping that engine cool is a key factor of being a good pusher. Everybody loves when they can get pushed hard, but if you can only push a guy really hard for 2 laps and then you have to drop out of the pack because you're too hot, then you're not doing it right and you're not going to be very effective. Now, Kenneth Rittinger also has the option to jump back to the high side here if he feels like his teammate needs some clean air. Those two are well out in front, but he's going to stay tucked to bottom for now. It looks like he maybe thought about trying to drag Justin and Parham to the top line. They didn't feel like they were clear, and they're going to jump right back down to the bottom as John Lynch is still looking for a run. Him and Randy Bonomi are not able to get 2 linked together right now, and that is part of the reason that they're not side by side with the leaders. And there is a ride on board with last season's Hickox Racing driver of Randy Bonomi. Yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm not sure, maybe he's struggling, he's looking to cool it down or what, but that inside line is really starting to fade, and when you fade far like this, you allow other trucks, in this case, maybe Robert Dunak or John Bell, to jump to the high side and maybe make a move on you. And I think when we're coming to the stage break, that's going to be when guys make the move again. Track position is going to be absolutely king here coming to the line, because even though there's nothing on the line for the stage break itself, less than 20 lap shootout to the finish, pit stops, you're not going to have to make one. You want to be as far to the front as possible. Ooh, looks like Kenneth Rittinger and Justin Parham, they are going to pull off the pit. So some guys must not be good to go. It's going to be just these 2 teammates 4 laps before we were going to take the stage caution. Now, they were your 2 leaders, so they were burning more fuel, but I'm still a little bit surprised to see this. And Kenneth Rittinger giving up the lead. With it just being him and his teammate, I don't think they're going to have a shot at winning this thing. So, sure enough, that must be what we had the guys in the back doing, was saving fuel. As we've started to double up now, and they might be starting to make their way to the front. We'll see how many more guys decide to pit here in the course of these next 5 laps or so. But your current top 10 as they run: Robert Duvendak, John Bell in 2nd, Robert E. Morrison 3rd, John Lynch 4th, James Skimordella 5th, Richard Hurst in 6th, Jay Stinson 7th, Randy Bonomi 8th, and Matthew Fritz 9th. Matthew Dyer 9th, and Matthew Fritz rounding out your top 10. 4 laps to go here in stage 1 of the NOMA Truck Series, presented by Manny Rays Clash at Daytona. This race was presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group, by the way, as well. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate you watching us here on Ghost Racing Network here on a Saturday night, approaching 11:30 Eastern. But on track, the bright lights have just came out just over 8 o'clock sim time. Big run for John Lynch, but now the 76, not sure if he split him or if John Lynch decided to go to the back. Richard Hurst, though, is going to take the lead on the outside. I think the 90 might have pulled high. Randy Bonomi's trying to get there, but Jay Stinson's going to make the move first. He is going to try to push the 76, and there goes the 29 of Matthew Fritz as well. Richard Hurst might have been one of the new teammate additions, and he is going to have a shot at this thing coming to 3 laps to go here in stage 1. This is where the outside really starts to form up. Robert Duvendak leads the bottom, and he is not going to think about throwing any block right now. He's going to stick to the bottom. He does have a good pusher in John Bell, but who has more temps to push? Jay Stinson. You got to think his engine temps are pretty cool still, as he had just jumped up there. Robert Duvendak, ooh, almost a little contact on the outside wall. Couldn't tell who that was. I think that might have been Matthew Dyer. I think it was in the 28 truck. Just jumped out a little bit wide there. Maybe gave a little kiss to the turn 2 wall. Nothing too bad. I think he's going to be just fine. Looks like Joey Hickox is starting to bob and weave through this pack as well. Maybe giving it a thought of if he should try to earn his lap back the hard way. I don't think he's got enough time to do it. And there these guys are coming up on another lapper. They're 2, just 3 wide further back with Randy Bonomi. Now they're going to have to get it sorted out. 3 wide hard enough here at Daytona. 4 wide, you might as well forget about it. And that's the 94 truck. It looked like might be having some issues. Shocked to see the 94 going a lap down this soon. Either way, that's going to hurt Joey Hickox's strategy. That's for sure. He knows now he's probably going to have to race his way back onto the lead lap. Robert Duvendak gets a nose back out in front, and now John Bell pushes him way out in front so that he can make moves as he jumps to the outside. Richard Hurst is going to get to his back bumper, gives him a big push as they enter turn 3. The 5 truck clear to the inside. The question is, does he decide to take it? He does. Beautifully executed move from John Bell as he takes the lead, and we are going to be coming to the 1 to go this time in stage 1. Robert Duvendak going to be pushing John Bell. Don't think there's any move for him to make. And Jay Stinson, does he stick with Richard Hurst, or does he think about taking him 3 wide out of 4? White flag is in the air for stage 1. Oh, caution's out. Caution is out, and this actually may have been the stage break, so I take that back. We knew it was going to be on lap 30 with 20 to go. I thought we were going to throw it at the end of lap 30. which this may have been. It's hard to say. Either way, what a move at the end there from Richard Hurst. Steven Hins is being scored the leader, which is really odd because he's being shown on pit road. Let's go back and take a look at the stage finisher coming to the line. You see clear and cut. Richard Hurst is your stage winner. It was a pretty good finish at the line and a beautiful move from John Bell. Unfortunately, it just doesn't quite work out, but a great assist for Jay Stinson, pushing Richard Hurst all the way to the checkered flag to get the win. So the 5 truck comes in second. Jay Stinson finishes third. Robert Duvendak, it looked like, got fourth. And Matthew Fritz, I believe, rounding out your top 5 for the end of the stage. So going back live, you got some guys looks like are coasting. This could be really close on fuel. And actually, this is a really odd look now. Not sure what's going on here. We got certain guys slow, certain guys coming into the pits. You got to think this might be a result of how close they were on fuel. See if... Yeah, man, some of these guys are just absolutely barely coasting. Richard Hurst, not sure what's going on with him. Let's see if we can ride on board. Oh, yeah, he's just coasting. I wonder if he ran out of fuel. Always love a little strategy that's going to be involved. If those guys can make it to the box, the only thing sketchy about when you run out of fuel is you have got to hit your box perfectly on the first attempt. If you don't, even if you just slightly overshoot it, you don't have any fuel to back up, and that is going to be a tow bill that nobody wants to afford tonight because it is going to send you all the way to the back, maybe put you even a couple laps down. Looks like Bonomi's, one of the Bonomi's, actually did both of them go a lap down. Of course, Randy Bonomi made a good comeback, so I don't think he is a lap down. I think he's okay. Christopher Bonomi, on the other hand, had just went a lap down. We'll see if he gets his lap back. But Richard Hurst with a heck of a job getting the stage finished. Let's see if we can go get a quick word with him. And all right, see if we got him here. Hey, Richard, this is all set in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got a copy.
All right. Well, how about it? You get the stage win there, but man, it looked like you must have been pretty close on fuels. You had to coast back to the pit. How close was it?
I actually ran out coming into turn number 1, so it was very, very close. But thanks to my teammate, Jay Stenson, he was able to push me to that stage win on the outside. A lot of other guys were running out.
We got the stage win. That's the good part. The bad news is you're going to be further towards the back here. And the stage really didn't pay much, but with $50 on the line, new teammates this season, what's it going to take to get back to the front?
Well, luckily, I do have a lot of allies on the track. I got I got Zach Stevens. He's a good ally. I got the guys from Venom Racing. They're all my allies, so I'm going to help them, and hopefully they'll help me. And also got Mark Beverly from Asphalt Outlaws. So I got quite a few allies. Maybe I can link up with them and make something happen.
All right, well, we will be keeping an eye on your progress. $50 on the line. You kill it up in the booth, and you're killing it out on the track tonight. We'll see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Great broadcast, by the way.
Thank you. Richard Hurst going to be starting further towards the back. In fact, looking at just how far back he's going to be starting here, looks like he is being scored. Actually, not too bad. 12th position here after the pits cycle out. A lot of guys, of course, did have to come down to the pits. The only thing that stands in his way here is the fact that we're not expecting another pit stop. So these guys are going to be going flat out aggressive here. And you know what? I take it back. Even if Kenneth and Justin, they may have been able to make it to the stage, but that was completely planned. They decided to pit there strictly so they could flip track position here because, again, the stage break doesn't mean anything. Winning it, you get some bragging rights. And if we had enough fuel, maybe you get track position, but this was a smart move. They pitted again, 70% fuel. We think you can make somewhere around 20, maybe 21 laps. If you're saving really hard, 22 laps. So in this instance, Kenneth and them pit there's about 4 coming to 3 laps to go to the stage. So You know, I still think it's really close for those guys. Maybe they had it set up where they just didn't have to take much fuel. Maybe they did come back down though to top off. I think that would maybe have been their strategy. We'll have to find out, but we're going to get a restart with 16 laps to go. You know, we are starting to get down to the nitty-gritty here at Daytona. We always got to give ourselves a couple of self-endorsements here. Otherwise, it would be no point in having our own broadcast network. So we want to let everybody know in the chat that Ghost Racing Network, we do now have our own merchandise. The green logo, of course, my logo, or the red logo, of course, Bryce's logo. You can find them on hoodies, hats, stickers, water bottles, you name it. We have got it now in the merchandise shop. We have the link to that. It is pinned here in the chat. It is also in the description. Go check it out. And if a couple other ones, if you're interested in checking out the NOMA series, maybe becoming a driver, we have their description down below. We also have the Ghost Racing Network description below, or in the description below. Go check that out as well. Super Chats now available. Top 3 Super Chats from the last broadcast. Do you know that our last broadcast, the FEG money race that we did last night, we got $65 worth of Super Chat tips. One of the craziest things I've ever seen. It was almost hard to focus on the broadcast. It was just absolutely insane. But top of the boards for that was Baker's Mom, Logan York, and Mark Vondell with the $25 donation last night. All right. Getting back down to the action on track. Kenneth Riedinger leads the way. Jay Stinson in second. Matthew Fritz third. Matthew Dyer in fourth. And Mark Beverly going to be running at your top 5. But let's go a little further here because anybody 10th on up is going to have a good shot at this thing. William George 6th. Albert Hewenson 7th. Treston Fortson in 8th. Stephen Hins in 9th. And Guy Braco currently rounding out your top 10. Here we go. Pace truck working its way off of turn 4. It could very well be our last restart. I think we still got a caution that is going to play into it, but we are about to find out. Jay Stinson, first time here on the front row tonight. What can he do with it? Green flag back in the air. 16 laps to go at Daytona to decide the winner of the Clash. Really big jump for the 24th Kenneth Riedinger. He's got to be careful here. This could put him in a bad position. Working down into turn 1, the 29. Matthew Fritz gets to his bumper now. You know Matthew was thinking about jumping high, but he's got to get clear. He's not going to be able to do it. Jay Stinson now starting to make a comeback, and Matthew Dyer is going to have a big push set up for the 31 if he can get to his back bumper. And I know guys were maybe a little scared before this about did they want to push yet? Where did they want to push? I think all questions are off now. If you want a shot at the $50, you have got to be ready and willing to push your way to the front. And that's exactly what the 28 of Matthew Dyer is going to do to Jay Stinson. Jay drops down low. That opens it up to the 28 up top. He's going to get some fresh air. And now he is going to have the 96 of William George as his pusher. But Kenneth Riedinger is going to jump right back up to the top before they have a run. He's going to take the run and side by side at the line. This time it's going to be Jay Stinson. No, Kenneth Riedinger barely leads us to the line that time. 15 laps to go before things get too crazy. Got a little crank it up here from Daytona. Here we go. that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. Meanwhile, up front, the 28 of Matthew Dyer, one of the previous Grandstand Racing teammates as well. He now runs side by side with his teammate Kenneth Rittinger for the lead. Nobody's gone 3 wide yet. Somebody is going to have to do it. The question is who? Everybody is always nervous to make that first move. You're worried that nobody's going to go with you. And if you don't have any teammates locked up, you kind of fear that you're going to fall to the back. The good news is if you're at the back and you got nowhere to go, then you might as well start to try 3 wide. And that is what the 21. How about the rookie? Got the job done in the last chance qualifier, got the win, and Zach Stevens once more. Yellow flag is in the air. Caution is out for a wreck. Coming to the tribal, that's Robert E. Morrison. Looks like Joey Hickok slowing up to miss it. Not sure if he was involved as well. Oh boy, this is going to put us a restart within 10 to go. Things are about to get crazy. Let's take a look. Third caution here of the night. It's up a little bit more. Right, here we go. Keep it. Oh, are they 4 wide? Oh my goodness. And these guys were determined to try it tonight. I didn't think it was possible. Let's see. Did they get? No, they're not 4 wide. They're 3 wide. And actually, they weren't even quite 3. Watch the 43 of Robert E. Morrison. He just drives up. Kind of just drives right into James Scamordella, who's minding his own business. And when he does, that turns the 43 pretty hard into the outside wall. The good news is that the 43 was the only truck involved somehow. I'm not sure. But usually when we wreck in Super Speedweeks, we wreck pretty big. That's going to be a pretty good shot, though, to the outside safer barrier. Definitely going to give him some damage that he's going to have to get fixed. And yeah, there's the 3 of Joey Hickok's getting checked up just in the nick of time. Take a couple more looks at it here. From the spotter view, this should give you a pretty good. See, does he just? Yeah, he just comes up. I'm not sure if he got tight or if he didn't know there was a truck there. What? That was definitely an odd take, but that's a little bit of a one that James Scamordella is probably not too happy about. He's probably saying, well, come on, man. You got to know that we're here. We're sitting here back in 20-plus positions, 25th, and shouldn't be worried about making moves that could potentially cause issue. But either way, obviously no intent from Robert E. Morrison. Guys tangle, it happens, but it does bring out a caution, and it is going to put us into a under 10 lap to go restart. Probably somewhere, if I had to guess, maybe 8 to go. Looking like maybe, not probably 9 to go here. We should get the 1 to go next time. That would put us right in that window. Let's see if we can get an interview here. One of the guys running up here. How about Jay Stinson, one of the Venom Racing / Hickox Racing drivers? So actually, Hickox Racing might be on Venom now. Again, we got all the team things that will be sorted out next week. The Clash, we were just making sure, you know, sometimes we worry that we might have guys leave and whatnot, and we like to set things up. By the way, if you're in the chat, let me know what you think of the Black Tower full black. Normally it's transparent. We were trying something a little different here, courtesy of Richard Hurst, helping us out, helping us get that set up, and I'm going to try to put transparent lines to it. But either way, let me know what you think. We'll be right back with an interview from Jay Stinson. Hey Jay, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing? Awesome.
Good. You're looking pretty fast tonight. It looks like you got quite a few teammates, alliances, whatever you want to call them, that you're working with in there tonight. Going to be starting here third, stuck on the inside. Do you try to look to go to the top here, or are you committed to pushing somebody to the win?
I'm going to try to get the win. You've got 2 teammates here in front of me that are going to be side by side, so it'll be interesting how that plays out. I know Fritz is pretty close to me somewhere, so hopefully we can all get linked up and try to get our way to a Hickox win here if we can. If not, then you know, I'll try to push somebody to a win as well. So whatever works out in the moment, hopefully without wrecking somebody.
Well, track position, we know it's key in general, but in late cautions in races of super speedway, sometimes they have a tendency to get a little chaotic, let's say. So how does that make the track position that much more important here tonight?
It's the most important, is try to get up here and stay out of the mess and the swarm of people trying to make a little bit of aggressive move late in the race. So I'm happy with the position I'm in, around the guys I'm around. So, you know, we got lucky with some good pit stops, good maneuvers to get ourselves in this position. So I'm happy to see Fritz behind me and be up here running in the front.
Well, I'll tell you what, I phrased that question looking for the answer of exactly what you gave me, so I'm pretty excited about that. But basically, yeah, this thing, if we get a big wreck, the closer you are to the front, the better your chances are of surviving it, hoping that it happens behind you. Hey, thanks for talking to us. We'll let you back to your team, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of this thing, maybe with $50 in your hand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks, awesome.
Jay Stinson for Hickox Racing. His teammate Joey, on the other hand, it's been a rough night for Joey. Looks like he is, though, back to 1 lap down, so hey, don't count him out just yet now. We will have to see what happens here. I think if we get another caution, Joey is the only guy that's fighting for a lap back. So he might be able to find himself back on the lead lap, and if he can, that 3 truck is going to look like a bat out of hell. He is going to be making his way back up here as soon as he can. Nancy Hickok says, I like the black tower. It's easy for me to see. All right, thank you for noting, Nancy. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about a little bit is you can't see through it sometimes, but we're going to try to make the transparent lines in between it. And if we can do that, I think it would look pretty sweet. So we'll have to see. That should be hopefully all fixed and set up by next week. But either way, we have got business to settle here tonight. We got the one to go signal this lap, and we are working our way out of turn 4. Kenneth Rittinger, Matthew Dyer, the teammates make up row 1. Jay Stinson and William George, row 2. Matthew Fritz and Stephen Hins in row 3. Mark Beverly and Albert Hewins make up row 4. Albert Hewins, late comeback, up 18 from where he started. So is Stephen Hins as well. Keep an eye on those two as they are your biggest movers of the race so far. Here we go back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 9 laps to go at Daytona. Pretty good start. I don't think we're going to see anybody even consider any 3-wide moves, at least not until we get to the backstretch. But if you're 10th on back, you better be making your way to that 3rd lane in a hurry, because if it gets clogged up, you are not going to have enough time to get back to the front. In fact, we're already going to see it. 21 truck jumps high. Looks like John Bell wants to go with him. And the more trucks that you start getting, the more guys that are going to want to join that train on the outside. Albert Hewins maybe thought about looking to the middle. Jay Stinson still stuck on the bottom. Kenneth Ringer and Matthew Dyer have the 2 lanes plugged up right now, but the 3rd lane, here it comes on the outside. Now it looks like it's thinking about dropping back down to the middle. Albert Hewins cannot make up his mind what he wants to do. John Lynch and John Bell still rolling on the outside, but the 90 and the 5 truck, they're going to need a little more help. This guy Braco trying to jump up to the top. Oh, the 90, John Lynch gets turned. Can he hold on? They're all trying to swerve to miss him. No caution yet. And now the caution flies, and they did a heck of a job keeping it up there and keeping the rest of the field out of it. But this is indeed going to bring out our 4th caution of the night. And it just looked like 2 guys, they were both trying to help each other, of course, here in the sense of John Bell by no means was trying to turn him around. They were trying to make some progress to the front. We're going to take a look from the spotter view here. See, does he just kind of hook him? Yeah, it looks like he does. You see the 5. Ooh. So you see Guy Braco, maybe I'd say about half out or so. And I'm thinking maybe the 90 has to check up, but I couldn't see any fire out of the pipes from the 90 from that view. Either way, the 5 jumps to the outside, and then once they get hooked together into the outside while the 90 goes, they ride it for a pretty good while. And man, Joey Hickox, whoo, boy, did he just miss that. And if he would have got in that, he would not have been happy, because that would have stole his chances of getting the lucky dog. Let's take a couple more looks at it. I think he is. This is after the wreck, but let's back this up to where it starts. And I want to go on board here with John Lynch. See, does he have to check up? Oh, sure enough, he does. That checkup is what makes John Bell jump to the outside. He's just going too fast and too close to be able to check up as well. And then they get together. The rest is history. Back live up front. Kenneth Rittinger still leading the way, with Matthew Dyer still hanging in 2nd even after that restart. William George in 3rd. Jay Stinson 3rd. William George in 4th. Matthew Fritz rounding out your top 5. Stephen Hins in the 2 trucks in 6th. Albert Hewins 7th. Mark Beverly 8th. Zach Stevens in 9th. And Robert Duvendak currently rounding out your top 10. Hope everybody is still enjoying their Saturday night here, watching the NOMA Truck Series presented by Manny Rays, going at it. We got quite a few interesting, I guess I shouldn't say interesting. None of them are bad. I like all the schedule, but you know what? I guess let me just go ahead and why don't we go over some of the tracks up on tap here for when the season gets started. Of course, we all know that Daytona is scheduled for next week, the biggest race of the season. And then we're going to have an off week before we head to Auto Club. Going to be a very fun and a very fast track. And then Nashville Super Speedway to Music City. Another off week after that, and then we head to Pocono Raceway, followed by Legacy Atlanta. Going to be a throwback weekend. Miami Homestead, Miami rather. Kentucky Speedway, which we saw Kenneth Riedinger. That was the first race I had broadcasted for the NOMA Truck Series was at Kentucky, and I got a feel for just how fast the man in the 24 truck is. Another off week followed by Indy and Talladega. Those are going to be two good back-to-back giant heavy drafting tracks. Charlotte, the All-Star race this season, that's one of the big things to note. That's going to be at New Atlanta. Off week before the playoffs. Looking at the playoffs, the round of 16 is going to be Michigan and Kansas. The round of 8 is going to be Las Vegas and Chicagoland, which was the championship race this previous season. That race did not disappoint, but we are changing the championship race from Chicagoland to Texas. And that's, even though they're both 1.5 miles, complete opposite ends of the spectrum in the sense of Chicagoland, a very fast, almost full throttle, wide out track the whole way around. Texas turns 1 and 2 is very technical, a heavy tire saving track, while 3 and 4 is wide open, and there is draft that comes into play probably all the way from out of turn 2 until the entry of turn 1. So we got some good ones up on tap for you tonight. We will be excited for the rest of the season, and we appreciate NOMA bringing us back on here on Ghost Racing Network. Nancy Hickok says, sorry, Joe, Daytona has not been good for you or Joey tonight. Well, I'll tell you what. I got some good news for you here, Nancy. Looks like, you know what? Joey Hickox, guess what? He got that lap back, so maybe it wasn't looking so good up to this point. But Joey Hickox back on the lead lap, and at a track like Daytona, all you really need is a chance. And now Joey has a chance, and we will see what he can do. It's got the H&H tractor, number 3 Chevy Silverado. And Joey, I believe, yeah, sure enough, he did switch numbers as well this season. It's a good-looking truck, though, to get us kicked off here with the Clash this season. Okay, we got the one to go signal. So Kenneth Riedinger and Matthew Dyer, row 1, Jay Stinson. The first 2 rows, in fact, with Jay Stinson and William George in row 2, still looking the exact same. Matthew Fritz, if him and Jay Stinson somehow saw a move to the middle, I wonder if they would take it. It seems like jumping to the middle from the inside is usually never a viable option. Doing it from the top sometimes can work, and we have seen that a couple times tonight. This would be a really big win for William George if he could somehow find a way to get the job done here. He's in pretty good position to do so in the 96, but if you're Matthew Dyer and Kenneth Riedinger, I got to think these two guys are communicating and maybe saying to each other, well, if you get clear, maybe if it's just by a couple inches, maybe think twice about dropping down. Let's see if we can contain both lanes, but if he gets clear by a lot and he's getting shoved, he might have to drop down. Otherwise, he might get turned around the wrong way. At a turn 4, it is going to be a 5-lap shootout. Again, we could have overtimes, have 4 green-white checkers if we were to need them, but I'm certainly hoping not. Pace truck's going to pull off potentially for the final time. We will see if we can finish this thing in regular time or if we have to head over to overtime. Jay Stinson creeping back a little bit. He's going to get right up to the back bumper, try to get a good jump and a good push on Kenneth Riedinger's bumper. Green flag is back in the air. 5 laps to go at Daytona. Sure enough, Kenneth Riedinger with another good jump. Got to be careful. Oh my, what in the world? We're wrecking out back. What in the world just happened? Jeff Carl on the apron. It's Robert E. Morrison, though, and Randy Bonomi that get the worst of it. And what in the world did we just see? That was a really, really odd look. It almost looked like the 98 had just kind of glitched out of nowhere and just jumped like 10 positions. Yeah, and what in the world? So Jeff Carl is nowhere to be found at this point. You see no 98, no 98. We're going to get started and watch him just blink in. There it is, just blinks in. Now, that wasn't the issue that caused the wreck, though. That was further back here that got started with Randy Bonomi and Robert E. Morrison. Is it a misgear? That usually seems like the usual suspect, or is it a big checkup, or both? Oh, big checkup. Again, you know what? I kind of feel bad here for Randy Bonomi, too. This is the second time tonight he's been involved in one of these big checkups on the outside line, and they all try to check up. It gets too bad, and eventually once the 90 hits the 66, it's too much. Randy Bonomi goes around the 17 with a pretty big shot on the outside wall. That's Tristan Fortson. Hadn't talked too much about him tonight, but he had been up to the front a couple different times. Robert E. Morrison slides Comes up just short of the outside wall. So I don't think either of these guys had gotten too much damage from it, but they certainly both would probably go in to fix the optional, and they are going to lose. Well, they didn't really have much track position, but I guess whatever they did, they're going to lose it now. And this will send us to overtime here at Daytona. Kenneth Rittinger still leads. Matthew Dyer second. Jay Stinson third. William George fourth. Matthew Fritz fifth. Stephen Hins in sixth. Albert Hewins in seventh. Mark Beverly in eighth. Zach Stevens ninth. And Robert Duvendak currently rounding out your top 10. And we're going to bring somebody else in for an interview here. And we've talked to a lot of people tonight, but why don't we talk to a couple of the guys that have been the most dominant here so far tonight. Kenneth Rittinger. Let's see if we can find him here. I'm not sure if these guys were hanging out in Discord or not tonight. It looks like they are. And it also looks like Sam Boutwell, Tristan Fortson might be two of the newer additions to Grandstand Racing here this season. Two very good drivers that they have picked up. Let's see if we can get a word with Kenneth Rittinger. Hey, Kenneth, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you're looking fast tonight. You're looking like you sure want that $50, but things are going to get crazy here at the end. The good news is you got a teammate to your outside now. I want to ask you guys, is there some strategy that you can play, although you're not bumper to bumper, being side by side?
No, not really. It's going to be difficult to do that. Just going to be, there's really no team orders here. Just go like hell, and we'll see. If he gets in front of me, I'll try to help him across the line first. But there's no sense in trying to strategize with both of the lanes here. It's not going to work out. So.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of both lanes here, if you find yourself out in front of both lanes, is there a thought of blocking here with your teammate to the outside? You just kind of commit to the one lane and see what happens.
Oh yeah, blocking on the last lap, it goes. So whatever you got to do, if you can make the block work, take it. So.
All right, thanks for talking to us. You've been probably the most dominant truck here out tonight, just about hands down. But we'll see if you can finish off the job here in overtime number 1.
All right, thank you.
And man, for a guy that has got a championship and quite a few races won under his belt, he always sounds pretty darn calm, doesn't he? Kenneth Rittinger going to put him back to his team. Grandstand Racing looks like they are still going to be Grandstand Racing. No changes there. Appreciate everybody sticking around here. 11:52. Started to get late. We started at 10 o'clock here tonight. Of course, we started with the last chance qualifier. Had, I believe, 3 cautions, 2 or 3 cautions in that event, but it ended pretty well. Crazy finish, though, coming out of turn 4. We had the big wreck, then we had the side-by-side finish, and we had 3 guys advance onto the Clash, where we have had 5 cautions so far here tonight that has now led us into what is our first of 4 green-white checkers. Overtime rules are as followed. If we can take the white flag, then this race will be official. However, if we were to get a wreck on this first lap, then we can rack them up and try it again, and we can try that a total of 4 times, 3 more times after this one. And hopefully we can get this thing to end under green. Nobody wants to see a race finish under caution. Nancy Hickok says, hang in there, Randy. You will get another chance next week. Daytona is a gamble on any given night. Thanks for keeping the same number and truck color. I like that point. It does always seem like it makes it easier when they keep the same truck number. But no, speaking of Daytona, it really is a wild card. I like the point Nancy brings up with that. It takes, I've heard from a lot of guys, especially if anybody that watches a lot of our broadcasts that do money racing, it takes, obviously, skill to find yourself in the front at the super speedways, but it also takes a lot, and I mean a lot of luck, to be able to finish one of these things off and get the win. There's just so many factors that are involved. There's so many things that can go wrong, and usually when you get in an incident here, it's not usually a small incident. You're usually getting heavy damage, and a lot of times potentially even a tow bill as well. Kenneth Rittinger, though, he said no strategies here, no team orders. We are going to go like hell, and whatever happens, happens. Matthew Dyer gets in front. It still kind of makes me wonder, does he think about jumping down, or does he try to stay up top for as long as he can? If he does it for too long, he might have to worry about getting split from William George, but only one person can win that money, so you know everybody is going to be extra aggressive. Unless, of course, there's a team maybe splitting the money, but don't think that's going to be the case here tonight. $50 and a win at the World Center of Racing is a pretty good way to get momentum started before the season has even got going. And we are back ready to get going here at the World Center of Racing. Overtime number 1. Kenneth Rittinger, Matthew Dyer back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona. Pretty good start here for the 24 of Kenneth Rittinger. Doesn't get off to too big of a jump this time. That's going to allow Jay Stinson to get up to his bumper a little bit quicker, but Matthew Dyer is making a charge on the outside. He's got the 96 of William George pushing. And if that 2 truck on the outside, he needs to get there. These guys are going to need 3 trucks on both lines to really make it work. Jay Stinson, he's not to the back bumper yet. This could hurt the inside line. Big run from Matthew Dyer. Does he get clear? It looks like he does. Now he's got to think about dropping down before the 96 of William George does. But he is going to stay high for now. There goes the 96. Matthew Dyer with a big block. He is going to make it work. What a block from Matthew Dyer. And now we see one of the rookies back up to the top line. It's Steven Hins out of turn 4. If we can make it to the white flag, this race will be official. 3x3 further back into the tri-oval. Starter has the flag in hand. This race is official. One more time around Daytona. And they're wrecking big out back. Huge wreck. This is going to collect probably the last quarter, if not half of the field. Up front, though, we are still green and we are still racing. The 96, he's going to need another really good push from the 2 truck here. Meanwhile, Robert Dunak and Richard Hurst, they're trying to get something going up top. Down the back stretch, the 24 gets turned. Kenneth Rittinger hard into the wall. Big wreck. This is going to take out another handful of them up front. Only 3 to 5 trucks are going to get through to survive, and this race is not over just yet. On the bottom, Matthew Dyer leads, but up top, Jay Stinson is getting a push now from Albert Hewins. Looks like Russ Kilgore is going to choose the top 2. Now he looks 3 wide. The bottom 2 trucks. It is going to be a drag race to the line. Matthew Dyer looks for a side draft. Jay Stinson hangs on his quarter panel. Is it going to be enough at the line? Matthew Dyer is going to win it. What a finish, and he is going to go home with $50. What a crazy last lap. Did you really expect anything less from the World Center of Racing? Jay Stinson, so close, but comes up just short. Man, oh man, we have got to take a look at this last lap. This was chaotic. To put it in words, I guess. Here we go. So we're going to have the first wreck that's going to happen out back. In fact, let's go to the spotter view for it. And this was the first wreck. This was a big wreck. Watch the guys taking out in this one. Not sure how the contact started, but everybody's full throttle. They were 3 wide and a couple of big hits there. Looks like Jeff Carl gets up into the catch fence. My goodness. And on the other side, though, of tonight, Kenneth Rittinger, heartbreak. Again, a lot of times he finds himself with bad luck at the end of these races. And is this going to be just a block gone wrong? That's going to be the biggest question right here. Keep an eye. There's the wreck. I couldn't see it as I was backing it up, so let's back it up a little more. So Kenneth's on the bottom right here. And he looks like he's going to try to go high. Yeah, he does. The 96 says, all right, I'll go a little bit higher. Kenneth says, I'm going to block, and unfortunately just wasn't clear. And that collects quite a few of them there. But the guys that sneak through it, this is where it got really interesting. And I think Russ Kilgore is the deciding factor right here. If he sticks with those 2 trucks on the outside, I think Jay Stinson gets clear and wins this race all day. Maybe drops to the bottom, but he doesn't. He goes 3 wide. That hurts the outside just a little bit. Matthew Dyer starts to get the advantage, and then Kilgore jumps to the bottom. That was all they needed, and Matthew Dyer gets the win, while by not much, in fact, 4/100ths of a second, by just enough to come home with the $50 tonight. We're going to go get interviews from your top 3. We'll be right back. Stick with us. All right, back live here at Daytona International Speedway. Going to start with 3rd place finisher, Zach Stevens. Zach, you got a copy?
I got you.
Well, how about it? You get a win in the last chance qualifier, and then you get 3rd in the big boy race, the Clash here at Daytona. What were you thinking on that last lap with all the big wrecks going on?
Yeah, I saw them turn right up there, so I just dove to the inside and hope they didn't come back down. I really got lucky right there. I tried to make a move to the outside, the caution before that, and gain a few positions, but I just couldn't get back to the outside after the green-white checkered. But it was fun. Pretty crazy right there at the end. But yeah, I got lucky with that third place.
Well, still a good finish nonetheless. You know it's going to give you some momentum for next week, but I got to ask, what's probably the biggest thing that you learned tonight that you can carry over for the main event and the season opener next week?
I'm not sure. I'll have my teammates in that race, so it won't be as bad. I was pretty much alone in that race, so I was just trying to work my way back up through there after the stage. First half, we was just trying to manage fuel. I ended up running out, actually, right after the checkered, but yeah, just try and keep it clean throughout the race and try to be up there closer to the front at the end of the race next week. So.
Well, you did a great job. Before we let you go tonight, I know you got a chance early, but we'll give you another shot at it since you were up here in the top 3 twice tonight. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank Chase and Grant. They was helping Spot since they wasn't in the main event right there, and say hey to my mom and my dad and my uncles again, and thanks to NOMA for putting this on. Been having a pretty good time racing with them over the last few weeks, so, and thank you for the broadcast. I'll have to go back and watch it tomorrow sometime.
All right, thanks for talking to us, and one more congrats on that 3rd place finish.
Thank you, man.
All right, now we're going to bring in 2nd place finisher, and that is Jay Stinson. Jay, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. What's up, Austin?
Well, we were talking to you not too long ago. We're talking to you again. I know you got to feel like you wanted a shot at victory lane there, but, I mean, what more do you think you could have done coming down to the line there?
Nothing. Nothing other than, maybe get a little contact, but I just won't do it. He races me clean. I race him clean. He tried to throw a block there on the back stretch to kind of keep my momentum down. Didn't work. I got Albert, a teammate behind me, was pushing. He kind of got his run taken away from some guy running 3 wide, which is fine. It happens. And then Zach did a great job of falling down and getting a 3rd place finish right there, and then pushing Matt to the win. So great race, great finish. Everybody did what they're supposed to do, and it was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun indeed. Now, next week, still going to be a lot of fun, but a little bit more serious with the season opener on the line. I want to ask you the same question I asked Zach, and that is, what's the biggest thing that you think you maybe learned or you're going to take from tonight over to that race at the same track next week?
The drafting and stuff's a little bit different here. So just make myself aware of that, make sure I make the right moves, and put yourself in track position early and often. Like, try to stay up front as much as you can and keep that a priority the whole race. That's probably the goals I've learned from this one.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Sure, man. Like to thank Manny Rays again coming along this year and being our main sponsor, Blue Ridge Auto Group. Just everybody and anybody that Spino designs. We've got H&H Tractors. We got Flatwoods. Just all the guys that make this thing run and happen. You, especially for coming on board for us again and doing our broadcast. And we love everything you do, how you do it, and we really enjoy going back and watching these races and what you bring to our league. So, my teammates, we've got a bunch of them this year. It's been great. Everybody that ran in the Discord, we had an absolute blast and laughed and joked the entire time. So, if you can do that on a Saturday night and finish well, you couldn't ask for more. So I'd like to thank everybody for that.
Absolutely. Thanks for talking to us, Jay, and congrats on your 2nd place finish.
Thank you, sir.
And now we're going to bring in your winner, Matthew Dyer. Matthew, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, you get the win tonight. You get $50. Kind of taken off from where you left last season, but now that we're at Super Speedways, what were you thinking there when you lost your teammate on the last lap?
I was just hoping and praying that at least someone would go with me, and thankfully Zachary Stevens had nowhere else to go but carry his momentum into me and just kind of set me off into the sunset.
Well, I mean, you gotta still give yourself some credit in the sense of you were up front for quite a bit of the race here tonight, especially in the second half. What was kind of the strategy to get you up there? Was it something that you guys tried in the pits, try to flip some track position?
No, for me it was just kind of just riding until you got to the second half where you can kind of be towards the front, and really it worked out for me. Kenneth and Justin had to pit before stage one, but I was able to save enough just chilling out in the back to make it without having to pit. So, and a big thing too is when we got to the stage, most of the people in front of me also ran out of gas, and that put me up towards the front too. So that definitely helped to get me some good track position.
A little bit of luck never hurts at a track like Daytona. Good job on the win tonight. Going to be going home with $50 and a ton of momentum moving on to next week, the season opener. Before we let you go, though, is anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, just huge shout out to Joey, Jason, and Robert and Guy for stepping up and helping them out. To put this league on again. Shout out to you as well for coming out here and broadcasting. Shout out to Manny Rays for sponsoring. To my team. Kenneth, Justin, we got to start the season off strong, with Kenneth, winning the championship last year. So we're hoping, Grandstand can sweep and win this year's championship as well.
All right, sounds good. Congrats on the win and enjoy your winnings. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Matthew Dyer, your winner tonight at the Clash at Daytona, presented by Blue Ridge Auto Group in the Manny Rays Truck Series. Second, Jay Stinson, Zach Stevens finishes in your top three. Albert Hewins, great run for him tonight in fourth. Russ Kilgore, fifth. John Lynch, sixth. Robert Duvendak, seventh. Joey Hickox, eighth. Randy Bonomi, ninth. And William George rounding out your top 10. Moving on back to 11th, Justin Parham, Stephen Hins in 12th. Tristan Fortson in 13th. Guy Braco, 14th. Jeff Carl in 15th. 16th, Richard Hurst. John Bell, 17th. Christopher Bonomi in 18th. Sam Boutwell in 19th. Mark Beverly in 20th. Matthew Fritz, 21st. Kenneth Rudinger, 22nd. Robert E. Morrison, 23rd. James Scamardella, 24th. Keith Prince in 25th. And it is going to be Haas Beverly in 26th. But again, I think Keith Prince and Beverly were both guys that were not actually in the race. They were just spectating and accidentally joined as drivers because they did not start the race. Good race, though, overall tonight. Congrats again to Matthew Dyer from here at Ghost Racing Network. Excited for what next week's going to bring. I mean, what we saw tonight, I think we're going to see that, but amplified next week in terms of the aggressive racing. I think we'll see more three wide. Cannot say enough about how talented all these guys are. We thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I hope you all did enjoy it. Let's see, did we miss anything here before we leave? NOMA TV says, way to go, Zach Stevens. Good to see a driver finish in third. Jason, what a great run. A new driver finished in third. Great run for you and Joey, both in the top 18. Nancy says, thanks, Austin. Good broadcast tonight. You are excitement and contagious. I need. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Richard, see you Monday night. Yep, do not forget, next place NOMA is going to head is for the Super Speedway Series on Monday night over on NOMA TV on YouTube. And actually, that does remind me, we got one more little thing here that we got to check before we leave. And that is the big race, one of the biggest races that I'm going to be broadcasting in a while. It's the SummerSlam 75 for the PGR Money Racing Series. $750 guaranteed to win. Spots already filling up. In fact, we're almost halfway full as we're doing 60 entries max at 34. So $750 guaranteed to win, even if there was only one truck, plus additional top 5 payouts. Going to be a fun one for sure. If you're interested, contact me or PGR. Let us know. And we're also setting up a thing, $3 raffle ticket. You have a chance at winning one of those entries as well. All right, that's going to do it tonight. One more time, I hope everybody